Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mortuary. I am the Mortician, and today I'm hijacking an idea from someone else again. Well, kind of. Usually, when it comes to this kind of stuff, when I see topics being talked about, like the recent EA scandal and whatnot, I usually think if I do not have anything to add to the conversation, I keep my mouth shut. But on this particular subject that was brought up a year ago on Black Metal Werewolf's channel, which I'll link his channel in the description. He's much bigger than I am, but I'll still give him credit where credit is due because he gave me the idea. And he gave me the idea of metal albums for beginners. He talks about the use of like greatest hits albums and stuff like that. And he talked about some bands that would really get you, well, into the genre, obviously. But in this video, I wanted to do something a little bit different from that. I wanted to see if I could make a gradient of easing someone into metal. Like, we're gonna start with something relatively on the lighter side, and every album that passes, we're gonna get heavier, and then heavier, and then heavier. And these are the albums I would choose to ease someone into metal. If someone came up to me and said, Morty, can we just sit down for about a few hours and you can just show me some metal consecutively? These are the albums I would pick. The first one we have, of course, we have to start with the classics, and that's Black Sabbath's Master of Reality. I was going to pick like Volume 4 or, excuse me, I'm a little sick, so forgive me. I would have picked Volume 4 or Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, but in my opinion, that's when the band really started to walk away from the harder, metal-y sound. Still great albums, in my opinion. I do like those albums, but that's really the point at which they left kind of like the metal-y sound behind, in my opinion. This is pretty much the pinnacle of that, these heavy guitars and Ozzy's voice. I don't know where it is, but one of the reasons I picked Black Sabbath, not just because they're a classic, but everyone I know likes Ozzy. Like, even if people don't like metal, they like shit like Crazy Train. They like Diary of a Madman and stuff like that. Ozzy just has a captivating voice. So even forget about it being a classic album. People will attach to this because they go, oh man, is that Ozzy? Yes, it's Ozzy Osbourne. And they'll love the riffage, and they'll get really into the solos. Right, I gotta recommend a song off each of these. Definitely, the song I recommend off this one, in my opinion, is Children of the Grave. I think if you're starting out, that one will definitely like ease you in, and you'll really start to appreciate Black Sabbath if you didn't already. Next one, we have Sleep's Holy Mountain. Yes. And the reason I chose this one is because it's very Black Sabbath-y in the way it's played. A lot of the riffs are like bumping and boppy. But when they really want to, they get fucking down and heavy, like on the Druid. And I think that's in just the same way they do on Master of Reality, just heavier distortion, more fuzzy guitars. The vocals, they still sing in this, which is very good. I think that this would be the next tier up from Black Sabbath, in my opinion. I definitely recommend Dragonaut. That's like my favorite song off this album. That and the Druid. Maybe I'll put both there. I'll probably just put Dragonaut. Once again, nothing super mega heavy. Next, we get a little bit heavier. With Merciful Fate's Don't Break the Oath. And the reason I chose Merciful Fate is because this is, in my opinion, these albums, or this album, is really when guitars started, or riffs I should say, started being like no nonsense. Like, this is the point at which, while still being on the, I guess you could say on the lighter side of the scales, still are, or get more heavy, I should say. They get faster, the solos get faster and more technical. The vocal style is a little bit more abrasive than Sleep's or Black Sabbath's. King Diamond has, I would say, pretty much a trademark voice. I've never really heard anyone sing like him. And it's just a great album too. This is probably one of my favorite albums, actually. And the song I would probably recommend is probably Gypsy. I think that's probably my favorite song off this album. Definitely awesome. And kicking it up again, we have Candlemass's Ancient Dreams. Yes, this album is fucking good. This is when distortion stopped being, I would say, on the lighter side. It's not fuzzy. This is now full blown distortion. This is like a doomy, not angry. This is more of a sad album. And what like most doom is. The riffs are like sad. They're slow paced, and you got this different style of vocals from any of these here. With Messiah McCullen's, I would say almost operatic vocals. He sings as if you're in an opera, I guess you could say. That's just the way it comes off to me. And once again, it's something that you wouldn't really... I don't think I would jump to Candlemass or any one of these after Black Sabbath as the first album someone listens to. But yeah, it's a pretty good album. Really heavy, really dense guitars. And the song I would recommend off this is definitely Mirror Mirror. Like, that's got to be the best song on this album. And as to the reason why I didn't pick Epicus, Doomicus, Metallicus, is because I have that on vinyl, and I just wanted to do CDs because I can just keep them on my desk real neat-like. And once again, kicking it up, we have Metallica. This is when metal started getting really, really fast, I would say. Started getting faster and more abrasive and gets way more dark. And that's definitely with Metallica's Ride the Lightning. There are other Metallica albums, like I believe Kill 'Em All came before this, but this is the one I have. I'm not like a huge Metallica guy, but this is the one I'd recommend. I've been on the hunt for this one forever, and now that I finally have it, it's great. And definitely for someone to get into, like if you're trying to get into like harder, faster paced, I would say guitars, this is where to go. And the reason for that is because it's not just full bore, in your face fucking thrash yet. There are still like melodic acoustic openings on some of these songs. There are songs that'll rip your face off with solos. There are some with, I would say, very fast riffs, but it still has a hole in, like, I would say, a more lighter side. It's still, like I said, the acoustic openings, it has these melodic sections and bridges that really, really tone this thing down and give you a moment to breathe. Very good album. The one I would recommend off this is definitely For Whom the Bell Tolls. Everyone's heard that song, but I love that song so much. Kicking it up one more time, we have Pantera's Far Beyond Driven. I would say this is one of Pantera's heavier albums. There aren't too many songs on this thing where they like slow it down and get melodic. This is like 100% all the time. I really, really enjoy that. A lot of double bass kicks here and there. There's Dimebag's, I would say Dimebag's best riffs are on here in my opinion. And Phil Anselmo he's screaming more on this album than I would say on any of the others. Not just in his usual hardcore, but he gets real high pitch into it, like real shrill screams. And this would definitely ease you into those harsher vocal styles that metal has to offer. This is absolutely great. The song I would recommend is definitely 5 Minutes Alone. If you're going to listen to this album, that was the first song I heard off this particular album. Not the first Pantera song I ever heard, but the first song I've heard off Far Beyond Driven. And I love this album. Next, we kick it up again, and we get into the section where metal is just fucking hardcore the whole way through. There's hardly ever breaks, if any. And to get us going with that is Havoc's Time Is Up. This is another thrash album, but I picked this one in particular because this one is fast the whole way through. there is absolutely no fucking breaks to the riffs. The way he screams is just fucking amazing. There's odes to Angel of Death, I believe, on DOA and stuff. It's a fucking great album. It goes fast, 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 fast. It's got aggressive riffing, aggressive drum playing, double bass all the way through practically. Very good. I would say it's a modern day classic in my opinion. I love this album. And the song I would recommend is definitely Prepare for Attack. Absolutely. Next one. This is where vocals stop becoming, so I would say, because on Havoc, I should add, is it's not super intense. Like, we're not into, like, super screaming. We're just getting into, like, heavy, fast riffing. And with this album, we get into the screaming indefinitely the whole way through. And that's Cradle of Filth's Cruelty and the Beast. I know a lot of people aren't a huge fan of Cradle of Filth and would probably say, oh, it's not heavy as Havoc. In my opinion, this particular album is. This album by Cradle of Filth is, in my opinion, when they were really at their peak. Some of the drums on this are just fucking insane because Nick Barker is fucking stupidly good at the drums. This is where the keyboards are, like, dark. Like, this whole fucking album is just dark and brooding, and lyrically it's beautiful, but it's gothic. And this would definitely get you into, like, even more intense metal. Like, this would probably be your gateway if you're gonna like black metal. This would probably be your gateway, because this is what got me, I would say, into, like, black metal. This isn't in itself black metal. This is people classify Cradle of Filth as just extreme metal, but this was my gateway, and this will probably be your gateway as well. Once again, Danny Filth has these really high pitch screams, but also he has this ability to do these really low gutturals to accentuate these screams. Very, very good stuff. If you're a beginner, you're like this. Well, if you made it this far and you're a beginner, you're probably like this. And the song I have to recommend off this one is definitely The Twisted Nails of Faith. That song is crazy. I love the drums on that song. Lyrically, it's beautiful. It's profound. Really, really good. Once again, very dark. And now, the two heaviest albums. And that's Horrific's Your Worst Nightmare. People have heard this will probably go, you know, this isn't the heaviest that, like, death metal has to offer, and yeah, that's kind of the point. We're not trying to necessarily kill them with death metal yet. This is opening the path here. If you don't know who Horrific is like, I would say, like, a death metal rock and roll combination. The riffs are straight up death metal. There's no two ways about it. It's fucking death metal with riffs. It's got guttural vocals. Like, this is the harshest, I would say, vocal-wise. But it has those lighter tones that maybe might get you into, like, death metal. Very, very good stuff. Like I said, will definitely help easing you into death metal. Because, like, a lot of people who were... I would say when I was listening to this album, I was a freshman in high school. I would say if not a freshman, I was a sophomore. But I used to play this album all the time, and this was before I was really into, like, death metal. Like, at the time I was listening to this, I was listening to stuff like Death or Possessed. I wasn't really into things like Cannibal Corpse or Mortician or something like that. I wasn't into those super heavy fucking bands. But Horrific kind of gave me that middle ground to, like, test the waters. And it's an exceptional album. I listen to it all the time, even now. Like, this is probably one of my favorite albums, or probably even one of my favorite death metal albums of all time. And not only is it no nonsense when it comes to riffage and the guttural vocals and the drums and whatnot, lyrically it's playful. So, like, if you're not into, like, maybe you listen to Cannibal Corpse or something and you're a guy who likes lyrics and you look at the lyrics of Cannibal Corpse and go, holy fucking shit, I'm not ready for this. This is intense. Definitely this. This is way more playful. This is like, I wouldn't say exactly like Primus when it comes to lyrics, but it likes to have fun with itself. It's no more serious than like an 80s slasher flick. It's like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, before horror films got like really solidified as this is no bullshit. That's how I would describe Horrific. It's a fun, cheesy 80s flick to ease you into maybe more hardcore films. And the last one on our list is definitely one of my favorite, probably my favorite album. I was contemplating getting into this subgenre of metal on this list because this, in my opinion, when it comes to this genre here, you either like it or you don't. Metal is like that already, but this subgenre is like the de facto you like it or you do not. There's no like, oh, I mean, I like some things here, but this here I don't. It's like you like it all or you don't like it at all, in my opinion. And that's black metal. And the black metal album I had to pick to finally complete their transformation, I guess you can say, from a normie to a metalhead, is Dissection's Storm of the Light's Bane. This album has some of the darkest, most aggressive riff work, definitely out of all these. But it's not afraid to be melodic. That's pretty much Dissection's mainstay. Is like, yeah, they're super fucking aggressive. They can create the most evil riffs and most sinister fucking lyrics. And, you know, John Notvade is amazing, an amazing vocalist in my opinion. I love his screams. They're very, very good. But we can fucking slow it down. We can get melodic. We can add, like, really heart-touching melodies. It'll definitely ease someone into black metal. Like, maybe if they're like, let's say we put on Zudger or something. Zudger is 100%, like 100 miles per hour all the time. Whereas this one, it can go to 100, but it gives you a break. It lets all that sink in. And I think that's important for a beginner. They would get overwhelmed with something like Zudger or Mayhem or something like that. So this would be the perfect album to try to get their feet wet or, you know, let them dip their toes in to test the water. And not only that, it's a classic album. I love this album. Like I said, it's probably my favorite album. Yeah. You know what I just realized? I didn't recommend a song off Horrific. I'm just so excited to get into the next one. But the song I'll recommend for Horrific is definitely Death Rock. That pretty much sums up that whole album. And the song I recommend for Dissection, Storm of the Light's Bane, is... I would definitely say Where Dead Angels Lie. I would say that's definitely a favorite amongst people. And that's one of my favorites. Yeah. So, thank you guys for watching. Tell me in the comments, why don't you guys give me like a top 5 albums for beginners, in your opinion. And I'd like to thank Black Metal Werewolf for the inspiration. Like I said, it's not exactly his video, because I felt like I had something I could add to the conversation. And that's generally how I am. If I don't feel like I can't add to it, I won't. But I felt like this was something I'm pretty knowledgeable about, and I had some ideas for it already. So I'd like to thank him. I'm going to leave a link in the description for Black Metal Werewolf. Definitely check him out. Like I said, he's way bigger than I am, but he's a very good YouTuber, primarily metal. I would say metal almost all the time. Very, very good shit. Thank you guys for watching. Mortician, peace out.